Welcome back to a special Monday edition of the Big Blue Lifers podcast. I'm Mr. U. That's Jess. We're in the house, and I doubt very highly that we have a good attitude. But we are here to talk all things New York Football Giants, maybe a little other NFL because some good games that came on as well besides our team and that game that was not so good. But first off, Jess, how you doing, brother? All things well?
Outside of the Giants, life's going well. Was really looking forward to the start of this season. I'm not looking forward to the rest of it.
18 games, brother. How am I going to help you and help myself at the same time? I don't know how it's going to happen. I'm running into some comments from some friends across the social media platforms, and for them, this is the gauntlet. Week two is the gauntlet, man. They said if week two doesn't go well, they're done for the whole season. I'm like, wow, that's so hard to fathom. We saw all the excitement. Guys are having fun playing together. They even having fun hitting each other and fighting with each other. It was all good. It's like a totally different Giants team than what we've been seeing the past 3 years. Now all of a sudden, guys are saying if week two doesn't go right, they're not watching any more Giants games for the rest of the 18 game season. That's a stark, dramatic departure from what we saw and heard from Giants fans in the preseason, man. So this is absolutely nuts, man. But you had an awesome point off the air, man, which I totally agree with. Let's go there a little bit, man. What you got?
Yeah. So first, I don't exactly blame your friends, talking about, like if it's the same thing in week two, I'm done. Because the biggest issue, and this kind of leads into the point that I was making off the air, the biggest issue is that it feels like it's the same thing. Every year, it feels like it's the same thing. We've scored 12 points, I believe it was, in including this year, the three last week ones. We have a total of 12 points. We're being outscored like 89-12 in week one over the past 3 years. And it's the offense sucks. The defense will try its best to keep us in these things. But even the defense didn't look good this week, despite what the score tells you. And it just feels like, and this is what I was saying off the air, you watch teams like the Chargers and the Chiefs, and then that's not even getting into what the Bills and the Ravens did on last night, Sunday night. We are playing a different sport, or at the very least, we're like a JV high school team, and the rest are NFL teams. Like, it's ridiculous how hard everything looks for us to do. We can't move the ball on offense. We got bailed out on defense on a number of occasions. This easily could have been like a 38-6 game. It's just so frustrating that it seems like there is nothing we can do. We have been watching essentially the same thing for almost 15 years now. From 2012 to now, it feels like pretty much the same thing, where we can't fix this O-line. Somehow, no matter what we do, it feels like our defense is getting carved up. Inconsistent at best quarterback play. And I'm sick of it, man. I'm just so sick of it. Like, I thought with Russ coming in, it would at least provide like some floor for the offense. That's not the case. It took him a quarter to now be running to just get happy feet, bail out of clean pockets just because he does not trust the guys in front of him. It's just exhausting. It is exhausting.
Oh, brother. Well, this is going to be a long show, isn't it?
We might be here for 2 hours, man. Like, I could go on. I was trying to keep that concise. I can just rant if you want me to. Like, good Lord,
I don't ever want you to rant because I feel like your blood pressure is going up at the same time, and I don't want that for you.
up.
I don't want that for you. But no, but there are some valid points in what you said. If, also, just clear disclosure, I don't blame my friends for having some thoughts too. I feel like week two was early because everybody's been on the hype train for Jackson Dart, and I think a lot of it is not just youthful exuberance, but I think there is movement in the pocket, things that Russ can't quite do as well as he used to do when he was in Seattle. So I need to see some of that before I say, you know what, I'm not watching any more games. So to all my friends watching, Mister, you ain't got nothing but love for you. This podcast got nothing but love for you. You guys do great work from a Giants fan based perspective, but I'm not there with you, man. I need to at least see Jackson Dart at least a handful of games before I say, you know what, this is over. This is not fixable. Coach and staff, everybody, Shane Bowen, everybody got to go. I'm not there yet, so I need to see something other than what we saw week one. But at the same time, we'll get into my displeasure about what we saw. But you brought up a main point. I want to get into it a little bit because maybe it's something that our listeners can help us out with. If you guys even joining us today, I don't even know where you guys are at. But you said it looks like it's so hard for us, like we're playing a different sport. And I tell you what, man, you're already a smart dude, man. But that was probably one of the most spot on things I ever heard you say because that totally and completely describes the feeling I have when I'm watching us play, even for the past couple of years. I'm going back even up to 2022 a little bit. It feels like everything we're doing is like a labor, like it's a burden. Like we can't even do the simple things well. And I'm like, that can't be. The talent that we had on the team the past few years is clearly there. These weren't bums that were on the team. Why does it look the way it looks? And now I'm starting to wonder: is this a culture thing? Is this a coaching thing? Because it's not Spider's fault. It's not Malik's fault. It's not Slade's fault. He only got one target all game and he missed that one. It's not his fault. It's not Wandale's fault. I'm not even sure it's Russ's fault. I mean, he is what he is. He does what he can do. Talk about the O line. That's a different conversation we'll have later on in the show. But it can't be all these guys' fault. It looks like the game is not. It's slow. It's like these guys got cement shoes on this team. Now I don't understand that. So what you said, I don't know if you have an answer for it, but I'm like, it seems like it's just harder for us to do simple things. The fact that we were even in this game, and I feel like we were. I feel like we had. I think it was in the third quarter. The Giants had the ball. I think it was like third and something. And Russ was working with, and we were down by. I think we were down by 8. We had a chance to score a touchdown, maybe hit the extra point and be down by 1. So it wasn't like we were like getting blown out. So as bad as we played, that's the margin we had. With Cosme being out, Trey Amos should have been taken advantage of. Rookie stuff was going on out there, and Russ couldn't take advantage of it. I don't understand that part either. Another topic for later on in the show. But it feels like we just couldn't do simple things. Like it was all so hard for us. Do you have a reason why you think that is, or is that just like something you just feel and we'll move on to the next topic? I'm cool with whatever.
Something that I saw others kind of discussing on Twitter, because when the Giants lose, it is very hard for me to consume football related media of any kind, not just about the Giants. I can't. It's rough for me. But one of the things that I saw some people discussing that I really wonder about is, and this is almost getting into like conspiracy theory talk, it feels like.
Oh gosh, all right, all right.
But Brian Dable has made it like no secret how much he loves Dart. Dart is his guy. And Russ was the 4th option this offseason. Like it seemed to go trade for Stafford seemed to be their number 1 idea. Sign Rodgers was their second idea. Trade for the first picking at Cam Ward was 3 and Russ was 4. So is it like, because the offense looked and almost felt pretty much the same as it did last year. A lot of, just kind of throw it up on the outside, some vague middle of the field crossing routes. Like there was nothing that really seemed to play into Russ's strengths of, taking the ball under center into a play action, maybe roll out, throw it deep. I mean, it certainly didn't help that, again, we're going to be talking about the offensive line a bit more, that we couldn't get a single push on the ground. Russ was our leading rusher with, I think it was like 30 something yards. But, it didn't feel like any of this scheme on the offensive side of the ball was playing into his strengths. Could it be that, like, Dable is kind of just, he really wants to start Dart now? He thinks Dart is actually ready, but it's just like, we made this promise to Russ. I've got, instructions from the higher ups that, when we signed him, we're giving him this money. We can't move away from him after like 1 week or so. Like, we're going to just ride out a couple of weeks, try to just get to the Saints game with a couple of wins, which now feels like an impossibility after what we saw yesterday. And then I can just go to my guy and like open things up the way I want to. Like, that is the only thing in my mind that would justify just how, I mean, Kafka's play calling, especially in the red zone, was some of the worst I've ever seen. It felt nothing like 2022, when that was actually like something we could do relatively well, was score in the red zone. Like, we'd have like these long drives and then punch it in, and then we'd win the game 17-14, 21-17, something like that. That was what a lot of 2022 was. So I don't know. And that's, again, this is the frustrating thing. Dable's supposed to be this offensive guru. He came in, and then we saw what he could do in 2022 with essentially just Saquon Barkley and Darius Slayton. Like, and now we have Malik Neighbors, and I guess that's it. Tracy isn't Saquon. He's not making something out of nothing like that. And this was some of the worst run blocking I've genuinely ever seen. Darius Slayton was a non-factor with 1 target. Wandale did Wandale things, catching a ball at 3 yards and then turning it into 6 yards. Theo Johnson forgot how to catch. And that was essentially it. Like, I'd need to watch the All-22, and I need to know what some of these reads. Like, one of the things, and this, now I'm kind of going off on like an entire side tangent here. I'm sorry, this is kind of getting a bit rambly, but I promise it all circles back. When this is something I don't know if you have any insight into, that maybe more than me, but the way I understand how a quarterback reads things is that while it does happen all very, like, it has to happen rapid, ridiculously fast. A quarterback has his reads in how he's supposed to, like, you start at 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, I see this play I think it was our first trip in the red zone. We were going to tie the game. And Darius Slayton, you see him all the way out on the left. I forget, I think it was some kind of swing route or something. Either way, he's in the, like, almost the left side flat. And he is like, looks like he's wide open. But Russ is clearly looking off to the right. And everyone's like, what is Russ doing? Look at Darius Slayton here. He's wide open. All you have to do is just quick turn, toss, and then that's it. But if Russ is if like the play is designed that Russ is supposed to start over there and then work his way over, and then the defense, is kind of crashing down on him, so he just has to make a decision very quickly. He's not going to have time to look over there. And I don't know if that's a Russ issue, like he just needs to get through these things faster. If it's an offensive line issue where they need to be able to hold these blocks for another second. if it's a play design issue. I don't know what it is, but something has to change. And we've had different quarterbacks, that have all had varying degrees of success with Dable's schemes. But the one thing that's been consistent is, like, especially these past 3 years, and again, even to a degree, 22, we have these ridiculously slow starts. And at this point, the only constant is the coaching, is the GM. And I was defending these guys all offseason, and I still think to a degree, and I want to kind of get into this a bit more later in the show.
Okay.
How long should Dable be given here? Like, what is the
Now,
lead?
now we have to talk about this.
Yeah. But
Last
one
week
of
I
the things
was
that I
premature.
want to get into, more so than the Dable conversation, is the Shane situation, and thus the Dart conversation.
Okay.
In that, with how bad it looked, we know Dart is going to be starting sooner than we expected. Even
Especially
like
after
I
last week.
think our last show, or one of our last shows before the season started, we were saying, oh, we're going to see Dart sooner than this, but as a positive, because of how good Dart looked in preseason. At the very least, that's what I was speculating about. With comments Dable had made and how good Dart looked, I was thinking we might see Dart sooner rather than later as more of a positive thing. But now it's going to be a negative. And my question is, Dable came out and said today that Russ is starting week 2. If Dart is going to end up getting the start sooner rather than later, I'm at the point where I say, rip the Band-Aid off and start him now. Ride it out the whole season. And if there's a lot of good there, and even if we're losing, we're putting up points and the offense is clearly clicking, and we're just like, okay, the vision is here. We need to find a way to, after, again, nearly 15 years, finally build this O-line, and we're going to be cooking with gas. That's one thing. And if he's not, and he's bad, and everything sucks, we clean house, trade Dart, trade some other pieces, and let the new GM and the new coaching staff come in and do their thing. And if that means we're trading guys like Thomas or whatever, like, I know it's week 1, and I am talking absolute doomsday scenario here, but I don't want the next regime to feel tied to Dart the way Shane and Dable ended up being tied to Daniel Jones.
No, fair.
That is my worry here. And why so many people, I think, said, all right, you let them draft their guy, you have to let you have to give him another year. But if we're just gonna rip this Band-Aid off, I say just do it. Let's just do it, see what we got with this kid, see how he evolves over the course of a season, and then we can have these conversations, in the off season. But I don't know how long we're gonna give these guys. Dable. Don't even get me started on Bowen. My God. I think I just said a billion words and said nothing at all, but I'm sorry, man. Like, I
feel you, brother. I'm so glad that you're talking to me. That means you're not standing on the bridge somewhere. So this is good. Man, okay, so there's a lot of things going on there, and a lot we're going to still get into. So I'm going to try my best to be brief about some of what you said.
You don't have to be brief. I wasn't. I know that. You do not feel obligated to be brief.
At this point, I'm not even worrying about the clock per se, and it's just more clips for us to put out there on social media. I don't really care how long it goes tonight. But excluding the Monday Night Football game, which I do want to see. But beside that, honestly, I know I was a proponent of having Dart. I would say in best case scenario, if Russell is decent, Dart can sit out because honestly, that's what they wanted to do in the first place. So that's more time under his belt. That holding the clipboard is going to help him too, as well as game time. I don't want him coming in for packages. I didn't really care for that idea whatsoever. Either you in or you out. I think he's not a gadget quarterback. So I didn't see any room for that nonsense. But at the same time, I recognize that now it's time to start talking doomsday scenarios. I know it's only been 1 week, and I want to sound hypocritical. I know I already said that we can't go back crazy now because it's only been 1 week. But this week, yesterday was resembled the entire season that we had last year. It looks exactly the same. There wasn't any variance whatsoever. The only thing I saw differently was they were trying to force feed Neighbor the ball in the second half. That's the only difference I've seen. Last year, at least they were spreading the ball around. DeVito and Drew Lock were at least doing that part. Wandale and Slayton had almost how many yards he had? I'm sure he had over 600 yards. So he was getting the ball. Wandale had 1,000 yards, and that was not Neighbors. So imagine. So they were throwing the ball around. Now they're trying to force feed it to one person, and Slade's like not getting any love. I'm like, you think defenses can't defend against this? It's just so one dimensional and so short sighted. I don't understand how we can look the same after what I think was an incredible and promising preseason. Come out here and look exactly the same. I heard from all the captains today. Heard from Neighbors. Heard from Dexy. Heard from Spider, and I think there was only one, and Russell. And they were all talking about the same thing except for Russell. Talking about the energy. The energy felt off. I'm like, how did we get there from a preseason that was electric? You and I were talking about a defense that was potentially elite on the defensive side of the ball. And they come out here with no energy, no oomph, no nothing. How is that possible against a division rival? And now we're going to play one next week who got extra incentive to want to put a hurting on us because they got smacked around. And they could have won the game. They got smacked around by the champs and really could have won the game theoretically. With all the deficiencies and not having Micah, could have still won the game. And they're going to come inside here and play us. What you think going to happen out here? We can't go out here with no energy. We're going to get smoked. We can't let this. We can't let this happen. The Giants last two seasons started 0-2. The last two seasons. So when you see this kind of trend happening, it's not hard to be like, yo, I'm getting off of this train. We going in the same direction we were last time. Scored 6 points in those two regular season opens. 2 years in the first two games, they scored 6 points. That's incredible. That's impossible. And scored most of the few points that they had in the first half. In the second half, scoreless. That's what's been going on historically, at least in the past couple of years. Now we go out here and get beat up like this by a team that we probably could have won had quite a few things come together, and we get 2 field goals out of this. I'm not. I'm telling folks not to panic, but it feels like it might be time for it. I mean, come on. This is unbelievable. This Washington defense, these guys ain't juggernauts, man. When we were talking about all the guys that are going to be out, I mentioned one guy, I think it was Dorrance Armstrong, that would be out. And I talked about having a rookie in Trey Amos, probably defending our number one guy, which is going to be Malik in this case. But I didn't think that these guys were world beaters. Last year, they were the 30th ranked defense last year. They allowed 38 yards yesterday on 15 tries. We tried to run the ball 15 times and got 38 yards out of it. Guys like Kinlaw and Deron Payne, who we weren't even thinking about, became legends in this game. I don't understand. So we can talk about play calling, which we can get into. We can talk about Dayball's influence. For me, I'm in this what you said. We'll move on to another topic. I think we got to move on to some other stuff too. But what you said in regards to ripping the band-aid off, I'm at the point now where I'm like, I'm good with it because there ain't no real other alternative. I mean, honestly, as much as I love you some Jameis, I know he gonna throw that ball down the field with a reckless abandon. I love all that, but I'm gonna be real with you, man. I don't want that today. I don't want that right now. I want to know what direction this team is going in because I think everybody's a diehard fan. If you're really a diehard Giants fan, you hear me today. You hear the sound of my voice. All you should care about, is if we're going in the right direction. If you say a Super Bowl, you're a fool because we're not going there yet. We're not ready for that yet. If you say divisional playoffs, probably not that either. Not because of our strength of schedule, just because of our team makeup. We ain't there yet. You and I predicted what 8, 9 games. That wasn't unreasonable, depending on certain things taking place. At this point, I want to know these guys are going in the right direction, and we can't tell that by Russ being out here struggling and scuffling in the pocket. We can't tell. So the best thing we can do is put out essentially the number one guy and see what he got. See how he handles the pressure. See how he handles, the stardom that could potentially happen. Because as soon as he does anything good, they're gonna be all over this man like white on rice. We know it's gonna be true. So let's go ahead and just like you said, rip the band-aid off. Let's just go ahead and just see what happens, man. But it's not gonna happen on week 2 because it's already been announced that Russell's gonna start. So here we go with that. But I'm with you. Let's go ahead and see what Dart got. Let him run with this and see what happens. If it doesn't work out, after that we have a big problem being near the top of the draft because our center situation that wasn't a plan for us to talk about today, but we can. JMS ain't working. I told you this 2 weeks ago, but he ain't working, and I don't. I'm personally impatient with waiting for him to get there. So, and on top of that, your boy Proctor looked like trash last week from Alabama, and that was the guy that we were thinking about if you get in the center in the first round. So there's that part, but we need to address the JMS situation, and ain't gonna be no Slotsman, whatever his name is. That's not happening. So we got to do that kind of stuff, and potentially a quarterback too. I hate that idea. So I'm hoping that Dart does pan out, even if Dayball doesn't stay. At least the next guy coming in will have a viable guy at quarterback he can make him mold, I guess, who still hasn't learned bad things yet. So it's a good situation to have. But the JMS situation, that got to go, man. But where we going next, brother? Because there's so much that we can get into, man. Where we
The
going, man?
offensive line. I mean, you
Oh, for
started
crying
the
out loud.
conversation there, and I quite honestly, I think this is the biggest. I think the offensive line is the biggest culprit for all of the issues that we have because it is, as I kind of rambled on about in my, frustration earlier. We've been dealing with this offensive line for almost 15 years now. And it is beyond belief that
It's incredible.
we haven't been able to figure it out to like any degree. Free agent signings, bad. Like Runyon might be the best free agent offensive lineman we've picked up in a while. And he's a liability in the run game and is solid at pass blocking at his best. At his best. And that certainly wasn't what we got yesterday. Draft picks suck. Neal, awful. JMS, really bad. Going all the way back to guys like Flowers. A mess here,
Whoa,
but then he
whoa,
leaves
whoa,
Zero
whoa.
and becomes
That's
solid.
a oof. That's a horrible name to bring up in comparison
Yeah.
to anything that we got going on right now. He was the elite in the worst way.
Like it
True.
just it baffles the mind. Like we've had one great offensive lineman since those like 2000s guys, and that's Andrew Thomas, who can't stay healthy and wasn't even out there yesterday. So we don't know what he's gonna look like when he gets back because Liz Franks ain't nothing to play about, especially for guys of his size and weight. Obviously, you need to have weight as an offensive lineman, but that just is more weight on the foot. And it again, I'm not going to sit here and act like a doctor who understands everything about Liz Frank injuries and recovery and how these guys are going to look and everything. But everything I've heard is that it's not going to be pretty, most likely. So we've got to sit here and be like, okay, so pretty much every asset Shane has thrown at this thing hasn't worked out well outside of Illuminor, who is, again, a slightly below average offensive tackle, but on his good days is honestly can be an above average tackle. And he had his moments yesterday where he was clearly the only guy being able to block. That was against Washington, but I don't even know, man. Like, what is it going to take? I I this was something that, again, I had discussed before the season started, and I was joking with you. I remember distinctly saying this isn't Madden. They're not going to do this, but good God, we might have to. I know he certainly had 2 back-to-back what the heck moments yesterday in his very brief playtime, but move Greg Van Roten to center, move Illuminor to guard, to right guard, and then put Bo in at right tackle. Like, we can't just try the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. Like, it just gets to a point where, like, even saying that out loud, it sounds like an actually bad idea. No way that works. But in my mind, I'm like, it can't be worse, can it? Like, and if they do that, at the very least, they're trying something. They're getting some fresh young blood out there who might be able to just do anything that these guys clearly can't. I'm at a loss for words, man. This offensive line didn't look this bad last year. And including when Andrew Thomas wasn't out there. Like, sure, it still took a major hit when he wasn't there, but the run blocking wasn't this bad.
It was not. I don't care what people say. They actually improved in that area last year.
Mm-hmm.
I know it was rock bottom the year before. I own that part, but they improved dramatically last year. So I don't know what this sieve is that we're looking at right here, where everybody can just run through it. I don't know what that was. Honestly, I don't know, man. It seemed like to your earlier point about why everything was so hard for the Giants. Honestly, I don't have an answer for this. I mean, Daniel, despite how their season ended, he had some struggles early on in the season with third down. And it's like those things just went away when he played us. Even your boy, who they talk about on Twitter still, I got some friends on Twitter that I love, man, but they're still talking about DJ. I'm like, let that ship sail, man. Let that man live. It's over. This man goes to Indy. Man goes to Indy, 22 of 29, 272 yards and a touchdown, no picks whatsoever. Went over there and got better. And you can't tell me that staff they got on offense is better than what we got. Maybe Jonathan Taylor, if you're comparing him to Tracy, fair. But after that, you can't tell me that Pittman and Pierce are light years, and Downs, who hardly did anything yesterday, light years better than the receivers that we got. No way. And they lit Miami up. It's like everybody that comes here that stays with the Giants or that leaves from the Giants, like Saquon, like McKinney. Who else am I missing? Saquon, McKinney, DJ. It's like they go there,
DJ,
they go somewhere else,
Flowers,
they go
just
somewhere else
name
and
a
they do
guy.
better.
Leonard Williams. Leonard Williams went from being a really solid defensive tackle here to a borderline all-pro when we traded him to the Seahawks.
After a while, we have to say, is it me? Is it us? This is a legit question now because now I'm seeing too many things. It's like, what in the world is happening? Teams that having a bad, they have bad history. They come and play us, and they get fixed. They get healed when they play us. I don't understand, and we can't. And I don't know how from management down can look at this team and say, you know what, we're headed in the right direction. We can do something here. We had 231 total yards and 2 field goals yesterday.
I saw a bunch of people complaining, like, what's something we can change in this scheme? And they're saying, oh, why do we have Chris?
Thing?
Why? Well, one of the things that I saw most frequently was like the whole, why are we constantly putting out these 2 tight end sets? Mannertz, Bellinger, Johnson, some combination. And it's because they don't trust the offensive line to block. When you have 2 tight ends out, especially when one of them is a guy like Mannertz, who is not going to be utilized in the passing game, and the defense knows that, it just lets them know what we are doing. Russ has never been a guy who's thrived in these like shotgun scenarios. He, like I said earlier, likes to go under center. He's going to run these play actions. He's going to throw the ball deep. And not to say he hasn't ever run shotgun offenses, but one of the reasons why we seemingly have everyone and everything out of shotgun is because they don't trust the offensive line to allow the quarterback to go into a traditional 5-step drop. Like, that is how bad this is. It is Daniel Jones goes to the Colts and leads them to be, at the very least since the turn of the century, the first offense to score on every single drive they had. Every single one. Now, there are plenty of, people are going to nitpick this stat and be like the Bills versus the Patriots in 22. And I think it was the playoff game, but I don't remember exactly where technically the Bills did, except for their very last one where they kneeled it out. So technically they didn't score on every drive. But Daniel Jones did that. When you look at that stat from the year 2000 to now, quarterbacks that did this, there is one name. It is not Tom Brady. It is not Peyton Manning. It is not Aaron Rodgers. It is not Drew Brees. It is Daniel Jones in his first game, not on the Giants. And it's just,
I don't understand.
And I was watching some of the tape of it.
I don't even know where to go with this.
The pockets he had were things of beauty. He had great pockets all throughout that game. And it was like just a weight had been lifted off his shoulders. Now, again, they were playing the Dolphins, who are a team that's projected to be one of the worst. So, again, as is the case that I'm going to be telling myself until Sunday, where, I'm going to get mad again and act like the sky is falling when this feels like it's just inevitably going to repeat. It's just week 1. Hopefully we learn from the mistakes. Daboll's a master of coach speak. In the press conferences today, he was getting grilled about a lot of things, some of which we still have yet to touch upon, despite being almost 40 minutes in now. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, so
Daboll coach
it
speak.
seems like Daboll has acknowledged a lot of the issues with the scheme that they approached week 1 with. So I can only hope that they are going to, switch some things up come Sunday. And I want to start touching, we've discussed the offense, but defensive, we need to talk about this defense and all the issues that it had, because it was, again, despite the score and the fact that there were multiple opportunities that we had to drive and even tie the game up if we got a 2-point conversion. But the defense, schematically, like, people are going to look at what we held Terry McLaurin to, like 2 catches for like only 30 yards.
Oh yeah.
But he had a Debo beat on one that would have been a guaranteed touchdown had Daniels connected on it. But this is the stat of the weekend for me. Not averaging 2 yards a carry with our running backs. Not all of the missed opportunities or all of the pressures we allowed. This is the stat. On 10 different occasions, we had the Washington Commanders in a second and 11 plus. They averaged 15 yards of play in those instances. We got them into a second and 19, and it was like, they're going to, even if they don't get it here, they're going to get like 10 to 13 yards of it back and put themselves in a third and manageable. I don't think we had them in a third and long the entire game. Like, it was ridiculous how it was. There was an instance I'm watching with my dad and my buddies, and it was like Brian. It was I think it was when Abdul Carter and Kayvon Thibodeau came in, and they had the combined sack on Daniels, and it was 2nd and 16. And my friends were like, "See, Jess, things are turning around. They're figuring stuff out." I'm like, that didn't matter in the slightest. They immediately picked it up. And I was like, see? You can't be doing that. It was like they were so scared to play these man coverages after that first drive that Washington got their score on, where they just picked on Flott the whole time, it felt like. That they just kept playing they kept playing these weak zones, these soft zones, and Daniels would just pick them apart in the middle of the field, getting like these mid-level throws, and our tackling was horrendous. Like Bobby Okereke had tied or had the second most combined tackles of any individual game in his career, and he was terrible. Bad angles, bad tackling. It was just.
Tell me again how Dayball's going to fix this for next week. You name like 9 things that's going wrong.
I'm not saying that this is going to get fixed next week. I'm saying Daboll at least acknowledged it. But I don't think this defense is going to be on Daboll to fix. This is another instance, like with Russ, where Shane Bowen was brought in, but he was not our first choice, if you remember. He was one of our last choices. All these other guys just didn't want to come here because they didn't know how long. Some of them just didn't want to work with Daboll after his big fallout with Wink. And others are like, I don't know how long he's going to be there for. And if he's not going to be there for a while, I'm not going to be there. I want some job security that goes beyond a year or two. And well, at that point, it was speculated maybe just a year. A lot of people were surprised that this whole regime made it back for this year. So weird that there was like Abdul Carter was in for like 40+% of snaps in the first half and was sub 40 in the second. We only had the big 4 of him, of Carter, Burns, Thibodeau, and Dex, who Dex was nowhere to be found in this game. He did not look like he was in shape for this year. He's a guy that better play himself into shape over the course of the year, or there's going to be some bizarre conversation starting up about Dex and that injury that he suffered with I think it was his bicep. But like just weird substitution packages. Chauncey Goldston was in for like 11% of snaps for some reason when he should be in way more after the year that he had in Dallas, and we gave him this money. And I just, dude, like, it was such a mind, you know what? It's a 4-letter word that starts with fire truck, of like decisions on every level.
Man, this honestly, we probably could go 2 hours, but I think I'd pass out by about a minute and 15, man, hour and 15. I'd probably pass out. I'm like, this is beyond my comprehension, man. For so many different reasons, I don't know how we fixed this in a with a couple of tweaks. This it's too much. It's too much stuff going on. Matter of fact, it feel like it's bad everywhere. I don't know how you fix that in a minute, even with a coaching change. I don't know how you fix that. This is bad. Russ was our leading rusher. This is the man that can't hardly stay in the pocket. He was our leading rusher, yes, 44 yards. That's an embarrassment. But the stat that makes both yours and my head explode. Check this out. With this 21-6 loss, the Giants have been outscored 89-12 in their last three regular season openers and haven't scored a touchdown in any of those three games. I'm gonna repeat that because I know you probably missed it. So I'm gonna say it again. With this loss yesterday to the Commanders, 21-6, the Giants have been outscored 89-12 in the last three regular season openers and haven't scored a touchdown in any of those games. Are you kidding me? I don't know how any coach gets a break when you see a number like that. This is like special circumstances. If this happened anywhere else, people are heading for the hills looking for for new faces. So I'm at the point now where I know that I went on record and I said that Dayball should get a chance with his guy because last year, whether he could have did something about it or not, he didn't, and he stuck with what he had already in house, and we see how that turned out. So I'm like, yeah, get a man a shot, but I'm at the place where I'm like, yo, let this man go ahead and start because I don't know. I don't want to see Russ get hurt next week. I'm super concerned about. I'm like, what's going to happen out here? This man might get crushed out here. So I don't want to see Dart come in like that. But it's like we ain't looking good, and the old line is going to be a sieve like this, and just let these rushers come in here and just pummel our quarterback and disrupt pass plays. We're going to be in trouble. And you don't want to establish the run now, which is kind of clear. You don't want to do that for whatever the reason is. You got three healthy running backs, and you could barely use them. So I don't understand the play calling that. I mean, maybe Kafka has some ideas that we didn't, we couldn't comprehend. Maybe it's just not on our level. But I'm just kind of worn out, bro, because I don't know. I don't know what this is. Our prediction that we had, I think it might be time. Is it time to scrap? I'm gonna hold on for a little while longer, but I it's hard to be a Giants fan, bro. It's hard to be a Giants fan. And it's not because we don't have we got the history of doing being part of NFL history with the highlights and fantastic things that have come out of this organization. We are a part of that history. We ain't just a couple of guys or one-handed catch. We are part of the fabric of the NFL. But the past several years now, can't even count how bad this has been. We are
We
turning into
are
one of the worst laughing stocks I've ever seen in history, and that's not a good thing, man.
we are the new, well, I would say the new Browns, but the Browns are still the Browns.
Oh no, you can't say that.
Well, we're statistically,
You
record
can't.
wise, we're worse than the Browns over the past decade. We're worse than the Lions. We're worse than the Titans. Yeah, all these other teams have at least had a couple, back-to-back years of making the playoffs and winning records. Like the Titans were in the championship game a few years ago. People forget. Then they weirdly decided to blow it up, but that's a whole nother conversation. The Giants are just the Giants are the first team to have 3 straight years in season openers not scoring a touchdown since the 1940 to 1943 Detroit Lions, I believe it is. They're the first team. They're one of the first teams since like the 1922 to 1925 Chicago Bears to have 6 points or less in their first three, or 3 straight season openers. There's all these crazy things that I've been seeing reported about just how genuinely historically bad the Giants are in week ones. And it gets to a point where we were talking a bit about this earlier. Like, do we need to just clean house?
What does that
Because
look like, man? Tell me what that in your mind. What's that look like? I mean, I feel like I know where you're going. I think we know each other well enough,
yeah,
but but
no,
talk to
I
me.
said
Talk to me
this
about that.
earlier.
What's that
In
mean?
my mind, to justify cleaning house, Dart needs to start early. We need to see what we got with him. If he's as bad as he might end up being, because again, he's a complete unknown when it comes to regular season play. He's a complete unknown. He has never taken a snap in the NFL in a actual game that matters. And with that, if he sucks and we are competing for the number one pick as we have been pretty frequently, we get rid of everybody. New GM can come in and that guy can make the decision. Hey, are we trading Dart? Are we trading Thomas? Are we really just doing a total reset of like everybody, no one is safe? Like, what does this look like for us? Like with this new regime that'll want to come in. But the truth is, I'm terrified. I'm terrified Mara is just going to then go back to who's an old family friend, not who is actually the best choice here. But I went outside, what we've done as the Giants organization for years. I went out, I got the young guy and his coach, and I've done this all, and I gave him the full 4 years and all that sort of stuff. But it didn't work. We haven't gotten any better. And now I need to, go back to the old ways here. And I don't want to see that. I want to, bring in a guy who maybe he is a vet. Maybe that is what the Giants need at head coach. Just a guy who's been there, done that. Like,
Yeah, like who? Yeah,
but
that's
that's
great.
the
Good
thing.
case
Like,
for a
who's out
pause
there?
because Vrabel's already on the team already. So
Rabel's been taken up. We're not getting either of the Harbaughs.
I got a buddy. While you thinking about it, I got a buddy that asked me. We've done multiple shows together. We got deep history in the podcast game together, and he asked me about what guys would I like to see as coach if Dabo doesn't survive the season. I named three guys, and now I'm blanking out who I named, but I know one of them was Brian Flores. I name, I name,
I would
I
not
name,
hate that in the slightest.
I named him. Now I want to go back and find a tweet where I responded back to his message, but I named him. Uh, I don't think I named Slovic. But I know I named two guys. I said, you know what, this is good. This is a good thing. Now I want to find it, but it's time to start really thinking about it now because this is this is nuts right here. I'd love for a established guy, GM, to come in first. I'm not quite sure what the order of things will be with this, but I would like to see that happen first. Somebody that Mar will let make some decisions in regards to coaching and stuff because we gotta the guys that are in here now. I don't know. I feel like Shane and Dayball kind of lied to John Mar a little bit. They made it out, and I wasn't in the room, so I don't know for sure. But it feels like they made it out to be that the problem that the Giants had with these ineffective years, to put it mildly, was at quarterback. So all the decisions they made were supposed to solve that. And that game yesterday, man, it was like it didn't feel like it was an anomaly. It felt like it was like a continuation of what we've been seeing. And we got quarterbacks. As a matter of fact, we got three of them, which is more than what we had last year, I guess you could say. And it's like this was beyond ugly. That fear you have about John Mara going back to I don't blame you for that, man. I don't blame you for that. I don't know what kind of a chili he has that he's gonna put his hand in, but just I don't know what's gonna come out. As far as we got a lot of things going on, man, and guys coming, the GM coming in. Look at all the guys we got that got guaranteed money who played ugly yesterday. Adebo, Holland, Chauncey Golston, Hudson, with 6 pressures he allowed. Roy Robertson Harris, 85.4. million in guaranteed money, and these guys played like street trash yesterday. And it's like that's the guaranteed money. That's not even the rest of the contract. That's just the money you guaranteed that they would get. And it's like the GM coming in, what's going to happen? What are they going to be able to do? What kind of flexibility will they have? This is going to be crazy, man. But you want to talk a little defense, man, before we shut this down, man? Because I don't know where else to go, but I'm like, I
Yeah, the
hope
guy
week
that I
two is
really
better
want
than
to
this.
talk about on the defense is Okereke. There were
Mm.
like all these weird reports that kind of came out towards the end of the preseason where it's like some of the guy, it feels like, some of the guys with, in the or Giants organization, not big fans of him. And I thought that was like so bizarre because I'm like, yeah, he had a down year last year, but he wasn't terrible. But his effort, like, I forget who tweeted this, but it felt like, especially on the defensive side of the ball, the only guys who really wanted it out there were like Burns, and even though he did, get burned a couple of times, Phillips seemed to like these Burns and Phillips were the only guy. Thibodeau, actually, I would add Thibodeau to this list. Were the only guys that were out there on defense really playing like they really wanted it. But I don't know what happened to him. It's like Wink left and he just hasn't been the same. Oh, Bobby Okereke. And it blows my mind that like Dexter Lawrence was talking about, like we have the guys, like you were saying, energy's down. I'm like, how? Why is it that these guys, will just come out and a part of me is really thinking that the energy was down, and I'm about to go on back on the offensive side. It's because these guys want Dart out there. Like we saw, like, and
Wow.
people act like preseason vibes mean nothing, and to a certain degree, they're right. Because at the end of the day, vibes mean nothing if you're not going out and winning games. But when Jackson Dart and Jameis Winston and Tommy DeVito were out there in the preseason and they were throwing touchdowns, whole sideline is coming over and celebrating them. There was just an energy. And when we saw the quarterbacks, filming TikToks together, taking photos, Wilson was never there. Now, I don't think they dislike him. I don't think they don't respect Wilson. I just think there has to, like, I am reaching right now for something to explain this. But I don't know, man, if I don't know what it is. And that is the only thing that I can kind of wrap my head around that would explain, like, why would these guys go from that, to it going viral on TikTok, to it, like, one of my favorite shows, First Things First. Shout out Kevin Wildes, the vibes guy, is talking about, like, I think the Giants could be sneaky good this year. Have you seen the vibes? Have you seen the way they're just rallying around each other?
I heard that
Like
from a
him
whole lot of
talking
people.
about,
I heard
people
that
were
from a lot of folks,
talking
man.
about that. Like, and again, it's preseason football. It really doesn't mean anything. And not that I think this is going to be the case for the Giants. I think it's just the likelihood of it is ridiculous. That, oh, the Cleveland Browns and Detroit Lions went 3-0 in the preseason. Then were the two winless teams, the only teams to ever go winless in modern NFL history. I don't think that's the case for the Giants. No matter how bad it gets, it's just very unlikely that happens. But that there is just such little intensity, such little energy. Like, what could it be? And it was like we saw this vibe shift. We all felt this vibe shift. Pardon my accidental language there. When guys like Jameis and Russ and Dart all came in, and obviously now DJ, it's hard to talk smack about him when he went out there and did what he did, but it was like, okay, DJ is gone. This guy who they clearly did not feel they could win with in that locker room. And I'm wondering like what it could be. And that is the only thing that could, in my mind, like wrap my head around, like, what is the lack of intensity? What is the cause of this? And it's because they're like, well, they're throwing Russ out there. We're not going to be winning with Russ. And that is the only thing that I can wrap my head around here. I don't know if that makes sense.
I don't have any. I mean, I don't have any other answers. I mean, I don't know what else. I don't know what else it could be. Was it a really, really bad pregame pep talk by Dayball? Was that why? Did Shane come in the locker room and say something that everybody was offended by? I mean, I don't know. I mean, we grasping for straws. Your idea is good as any, as far as I'm concerned. I can't imagine what it would be. You're out there going against a division rival, playing in a season that nobody's giving you a chance to win in. But in your preseason time, you saw your team gel like it hasn't in quite a few years, if we're going to be honest about it, even more than the three prior. And you sit here, you come out here listless and lethargic, acting like you got cement cleats on, and you like there's just nothing. There's no oomph. You look soft out there. I mean, the one thing, and I honestly, after this to the last thing I think I can say, so I'm gonna just kind of just leave it here, just leave it all on the floor. I don't care what rivals say, Eagles, Cowboys. I don't care what they say, Commanders, whatever. I don't care what they say about the Giants. The one thing that was a mainstay for us over the years before we hit this decline, before we went to the Joe Judge era, was that we were known for playing hard nosed, smash mouth football. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't cute. 17-13 kind of games, a lot. Defensive shootouts, if you will. We were known for being tough and being hard and being relentless and being resilient. And honestly, I haven't seen that in so many years now that I almost forgot that was our identity. We're talking about more than 10 years for sure. I'm going into year 15 saying we haven't seen that since the Super Bowl year. Even the year after wasn't quite like that. A little bit, but it wasn't quite. Uh, some of the edge got shaved off a little bit. I haven't seen it since. And that team that was out there Sunday, they were soft. They were lifeless. Like you said, they were doing soft zone. They were soft across the board. No heart, no guts. And now they stand in the locker room trying to figure out what happened. What happened to the team we had in preseason? What happened? To all the guys that were out here ready to fight for each other. What happened? We out here fighting each other. We don't even fight the opposing team. We got nothing. We out here pillow fighting these boys. So my question is, where is the hard nosed, smash mouth New York Football Giants? We need them back fast.
If the Giants are 0-4 and make the move to Dart to go up against the Saints,
it ain't gonna take that long.
Yeah, I think now that they've said that they're moving forward with Wilson for week 2, I think the earliest we see Dart is week 4 against the Chargers. I don't know if they're going to want Dart's first game to be prime time home season opener, against the Chiefs. Although right now, based off of week 1, you never know with the Chiefs. That defense wasn't exactly great, but, good offensive line, Herbert,
there's a chance, brother, that the Chiefs can go into week 3 being 0-2.
Oh, and
There's a
yeah,
really good chance of that happening. They playing the Eagles. There's a really
yeah,
good
man.
chance that can happen. I mean, we got to get life from wherever we can get it, because that scene at the debacle out there Sunday, that was a lifeless mess. I can't even describe what that blob was. So I personally am at the point now, and I felt like you were at the start of the show. Sound like you kind of shifting a little bit. I'm like, we need to get all the juice we can get as fast as we can get. We can't let the season get out
No,
of hand.
I'm saying right now what I think is going through their heads, not what I want.
Oh,
What
okay,
I
okay,
want is for
okay.
Dart to start Sunday. What I want is for Dart to just get in and let's see what we got. Let's see if they like can Dart provide a spark, something
We
that
need one.
yeah, because we desperately need one. Now, what I think is actually going to happen is they're not putting Dart in, clearly they're not starting Dart on Sunday. They've already said so. And I understand the perspective of don't bail on the plan after week 1. Do I agree with that in this instance? No. Do I
Anybody know what the
understand
plan
it?
is? Send us the email. Send us the DM if,
Do
if,
I
you, if you guys know what the
understand?
plan is. Send me a DM if you guys send just a DM if you know what the plan is.
I
I don't know
think
what the plan is.
I
What's
think
the
they're
plan?
still going off of the plan that they clearly had set up, where we have this vet, been there, done that, and he's going to guide us through like this brutal start to the schedule. And then if we feel we need to make the switch, we're going to move to Dart, because at the end of the day, it's a lot easier to justify switching from Wilson to Dart than Dart back to Wilson. Like, but again, that's a different conversation. So what I want is Wilson looked terrible out there. Hopefully Andrew Thomas is going to be back for week 2. Status is currently unknown, but put Dart in. Let's see what we got. Let's see if he can make the offensive line look better than it did, especially in terms of the passing game. And let's see if he can make reads that Wilson just wasn't getting. All that fun stuff, right? But what I was saying before, you were saying that like I seem to have switched my tone. What I was saying there is this is what I think is actually going to happen. So what
I'm
I
with you.
actually think is
I
going to
got you.
happen here is Wilson's getting the start on Sunday. Wilson's going to get the start against the Chiefs because of that. Like, it will be the crazy atmosphere. It's prime time, home opener, all that fun stuff. So I think the earliest we see Dart, given the circumstances, is week 4 against the Chargers. I think most likely it's still going to somehow end up being week 5. Whether that's for good or bad is, up to you. I'll put it that way.
I don't know, man. This speculation is like this is still almost worst case scenario. No matter if it's week 5 or week 3 or week 4, it's still this is not this is not what we were hoping for. I was hoping that Russ can carry the weight, let these guys develop a little bit, and then do a proper handoff. But I think we're at a place now where unless the quote unquote aforementioned plan comes together, that's not going to happen. But I'm more out of analysis, brother. I don't even know what to do here, bro. Unreal,
I
man.
mean, I can keep going, but I feel like an hour and 10 minutes is about what we're at right now, and I feel like we might just end up going back around in circles. I'm gonna hopefully get my hands on some of the all 22. I'm gonna try and watch, like where's Russ's eyes going, what's going on with this O line. But as of right now, it's just as I'm gonna kind of end the show full circle moment to what I started the show with. It is so frustrating and so depressing and enraging, and just insert every negative adjective here, that we are seeing the same stuff year in, year out.
That's
And
what I don't understand.
there's nothing that it seems to be getting better. And I just don't know where to go anymore with this situation. And I need something new. Like I need to find that spark. I need to see something that they just are not giving us right now. And I think you agree with this, that spark feels like it's going to have to come from Jackson Dart. You know, we need to see him. He needs to light a fire under these guys. These guys need to see that they have a guy they can win. We as fans need to see the vision come to fruition. It is year 4 of this regime. And we didn't get anything even remotely close to that on Sunday. It was just more of the same. And that is the hardest part right now. It's not even that, hey man, we're losing, but we're putting up points. It is just a new year,
a wipeout,
different font, same thing, same word, different font, whatever the expression is. And it's just, I don't know how much longer I can keep doing this. Not this as in the podcast. It's just really
quitting on me already, huh?
I'm wearing black for a reason, man. I'm already kind of just.
Man, I mean, this has been such a day, just gearing up to this. I'm like, I mean, look at what I'm wearing right now. I ain't put on Giants. I'm like, I'm looking forward to seeing JJ McCarthy play against the Vikings tonight. That's what I'm excited about, and that should not be. That's egregious, even me saying it out loud. But that's where things are right now, because Russ is not my quarterback.
Again,
I'm out. I'm done, man. This is not. I'm done. Man.
I never thought that Russ was going to be this answer for us.
Just a stopgap, man.
But
a stopgap. That's it.
Didn't think it was going to look like that.
It's a stopgap.
That's
all we really needed for him. It's all we need for him. Just be a stopgap for a little while. Give our guy some time to. Now he doesn't have any time. It's go time now. Wow, boy. This is I know we have to lament the entire show, almost an hour and 15 minutes, but nonetheless, if you're a Giants fan, you know what's going on. You've been informed. You can't say you haven't been. But we keep you up to speed on any kind of current events. Check us out on all of our social media platforms. And of course, week 2's coming up. Giants versus Cowboys. I think it's an away game, I believe.
Yep.
So we're going to Big D. We got to go there and find the fight that we somehow lost between the preseason and week 1. We better find it fast because we're going into the Lions